You're listening to FFOP Radio.
Reach the and welcome to the show. My name is Dave. This is FFOP Radio. Why am I dressed like this? We'll get to that in a second. Let me introduce you to my co-host and producer. Whoops. Krista is over there off camera now.
Hello.
So welcome back to the show. So why am I dressed like this? For a couple of reasons. So we're talking about shooting film or still photography. The concepts we go upon, we will touch upon tonight, rather, not mutually exclusive. You can use them in either application. So, I'm dressing like I would be if I were going to go out to shoot street photography.
Yeah.
So typically when I go out and I shoot street photography, I dress like a tourist, because people are a lot more comfortable around like tourists taking photographs of them, aside from like just a dude dressed normally walking around with a camera.
Yeah, looking like a weirdo.
Yeah, like if I also wear this like when we go places like as a family, because I feel like if we all get separated, it's an easy find. Mm-hmm. But like people, if you dress loud, they go, it's one of those tourists, whatever. Let them snap. I can think of a German tourist or something. I don't know. I could pass for something else. So I think people, by and large, give me a pass.
You look a little Fred Dursty also from the 90s.
Whatever. It just sort of shakes out how it shakes out. I wouldn't normally wear these white ones. I can't find my black Oakleys anywhere, but whatever. This is my backup here. So here we are. Anyway, moral of the story is, like I was saying earlier, we're going to be watching a little bit of training on how to shoot with camcorders, like VHS camcorders.
Those big heavy ones?
Yeah, the huge ones. Now, most of this will still apply, and we'll go over this and that and all the things that I've done involving these principles. And you know how it goes. But like I said, this is if you want to get into photography, this isn't a bad place to start. I'll also, throw in what I know, because there are a couple things obviously that have changed.
Well, yeah.
Technology. Clap. Like
Detective something.
No, whatever. Whatever. We'll get to it when we get to it. Let's make it nice and big, and we'll just get this thing started.
Huge in the 90s.
It's huge in the 90s. I love it.
Wow.
I love the hair, too. Spoiler alert, I watched a little bit of this already. Camera on! This looks like it was produced by PBS, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It was like PBS Boston, the same that produced The Great Dinosaur Hunt. I think that was Wisconsin, though, maybe.
Like any skilled artisan, you, the video cameraman, must first and foremost know your tools. It's not our intention to influence your personal preferences.
Yeah, whether you want to shoot goats or houses, you'll need these tools.
Equipment. It is our intention to keep pace with evolution of home video technology.
Hell yeah!
So, keeping an eye to the future for these exclusive programs.
Yeah, here's our host, by the way. So you can see awesome mustache, really puffy hair. I hate puffy hair. That's why I wear a lot of hats when I don't have long hair. I hate puffy hair. Ugh, it's terrible. It gets everywhere. It's annoying. It's constantly tickling. It's freaking hated. But like this guy looks like a very sleepy Chuck Norris's, like at this age, for maybe younger brother. Like a Chuck Norris's younger brother who was like, I don't want to do karate. I want to do video recording.
FGO likes the cameraman filming of the cameraman.
Oh, hell yeah.
E2000 has specially designed its own prototype video camera with video recorder built into the camera chassis. Keep in mind, any video camera, when properly used, can give you exciting results, regardless of make or brand.
Exciting.
Whatever camera you'll be using, the operational principles are pretty much the same.
That's what
your owner's manual is
Are you
for.
Excited yet?
What we're after in this show is to turn your shooting into professional-looking video. The main purpose of the video camera is to turn the energy of light into an electronic signal.
Bronson's nephew, says Jameson.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I can't believe they break it down this far, by the way. Like, the purpose of a camera is, like, to capture light reflected from a source, say the sun or a spotlight. It'll bounce off that object, right? And the light will fly into the lens of the camera. Do we really need to start here? Oh my God.
Enters the camera lens from light reflected
There we
from
go,
the
see?
subject and
Boom.
strikes the
Physics
video tube
101.
inside the
How?
camera. Now, up close, most high-quality cameras will provide a number of useful features, like a zoom lens, an automatic iris feature, a white balance control switch, and extendable boom microphone.
Ooh.
So, spoiler alert, I've been stewing on this for a while. I can't hold it anymore. That automatic iris feature, I believe, is what will answer for, like, if you have a digital camera today, whether it be, consumer, professional, prosumer, or whatever, anywhere in between. Like your auto ISO is like the sensitivity of your sensor. I think there was no, maybe there was no way to limit the amount of light getting to whatever sensor in the camera, so they had to have an automatic iris, because they don't ever mention like an exposure. Anyway, we'll get back.
And
well,
underneath,
that,
a threaded tripod
Like even under a leaf.
mounting plate. Let's take a quick look at each of these features and see how, when properly
You'll love
used,
'em.
they can give you professional-looking results.
Oh boy.
Professional looking. See, I said instead professional sounding. Any onboard microphone for any camera is basically going to be dog ass. You're going to need to get something like a lav set or like one of those little handset jobs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do yourself the favor and don't whatever. If you're ultra poor and you're shooting a movie on a budget, you're probably shooting it on your phone. But like even then, get yourself like a lav set and like a little offsite recorder or whatever.
The zoom lens, truly a marvelous invention. It can give you a long shot, a medium shot,
And
or close-up,
bingo.
all without changing your position or lenses. Here's how. First, zoom all the way in on your subject, as tight
Say
as you
it's
can
this
get.
guy, for example.
Next, bring the focus in sharp. Now, your subject should be focused at any point in your zoom, from close-up to long shot. Keep in mind, the zoom lens
Oh
is
my
a good
God, he
servant, but a
juggled.
bad master when
He's still
overused.
doing it.
Our next camera feature is the automatic iris. It's measured in f-stops.
Yeah,
Your
okay.
automatic
Yeah.
iris instantly adjusts.
But like that's the thing with f-stops in like when I use my camera, like I'm looking for depth of field, so it wouldn't necessarily limit the amount of light. But like I have to imagine like the f-stops of this lens has to be insane. You see like the depth of field there, like what you want is like when you're taking a picture is like the subject's like for a person, right? They want the focal point of the object to be the sharpest, and the bokeh or the bokeh or whatever to like flare out around where your eye naturally is gravitating toward. Like this thing is like it's like a pinhole camera. I can't like this what iris control, like whatever. It looks like there's nothing about this. I mean, obviously too, we have to make some concessions because it's like VHS fuzzy quality.
Right.
But I wouldn't say anything is more or less sharp in this shot here, for instance.
Adjust your camera
FGO
lens
says,
opening
actually,
or
don't get a better
aperture
mic.
to
It'll
let
make the
proper
disastrous
amount of
results
light
even
into the
funnier.
camera. In a sense, it reads the light
That's a
situation
pet peeve of mine. If I can't hear it, like I can't stick around for whatever ironic jokes stem from that.
for you. Handy, automatic iris. However, strong backlighted scenes can fool the auto iris.
Gotcha.
If your camera has a special backlight control, you can easily compensate for the problem.
Gotcha.
If not, you can manually override it.
That's the beauty about all
The
these things.
next camera feature is
Manual
white balance,
override.
a camera function that lets your camera reference itself as to how white should read under prevailing conditions, and thus put all colors in proper perspective. Here is how it works. Merely aim your camera at a white surface under the existing light and flip the switch. It will automatically preset all other color temperature settings in the camera to balance.
See, nowadays, like it doesn't matter. Like you have it automatic on literally everything from your cell phone to whatever camera you have. It's automatically there. Like sometimes I screw around with the white balance in post-processing, but like it's hardly ever going to read the color temperature of the actual scene. Like nowadays, like whatever you're taking a picture on probably does at least a little monkeying.
Right.
In the aftermath to like boost it or whatever, because basically every picture I feel like I take now on my phone, it grabs like the 3 seconds around it, which I cool, great. But like when it freezes on the frame that it thinks it's the best, it like really blows out all the colors. So I know it's not like I'm already being fed an altered perspective. Like whatever. Like moral of the story is like the white balance. You probably it must be nice to have this feature sold to you as like, oh, just move it around until white looks white and everything else will fall into place because you've already did it. Like it was happening as you were doing it. But the implication is because like maybe you got to it, maybe you didn't. I've been talking too much. But like you have to point this thing at a white surface.
Yeah, that's what he said.
And move the thing. Yeah. So like basically everywhere you go, you gotta like have someone carrying around like an 8 by 11 white sheet and be like, oh, okay, hey, Kevin, get in there. It's your time to shine, buddy. And you go, boink, and he goes, boom, nail it. Back to the van. What?
Remember, you need to reset your white balance each time you change from one lighting environment to another. Both.
Like, that is important, though. Like, again, it happens automatically all the time now on your phone or whatever. But, like, moving from one area to another, like if you were shooting a movie, you didn't adjust the color temperature. You would go from, like, day for night accidentally.
Inside and out. Two last quick features. The extendable boom microphone here on top and the threaded tripod mounting plate underneath.
That's
the mic gives sound in the shooting environment and in sync with the program. We get to that in depth later. It's the tripod mount that's key at the moment.
He also looks a little bit like John Carpenter, right? John Carpenter?
With practice, you can set
Look at
up...
those shorts. Hold on. You gotta see it. I'm in the way. Check out these shorts, you guys. Look, what year is this? I don't remember. 1980 something, I imagine. Look at these damn shorts. Look at his legs. He felt comfortable getting on camera in flip-flops and these shorts. What are these racing stripes here for, you think, folks? Like to set up his tripod faster? He's like, all right, I'm going from the house to the lake. Zoom. Good thing I had these racing stripes.
Bike shorts.
Zoom right out there. Set up the tripod record time.
And level a tripod inside 30 seconds.
Inside 30 seconds, you guys. He was on the World Olympic tripod setting up team before he blew out his ACL.
It's worth it.
Magnum GI.
A nice steady frame, a smooth, professional-looking move, and just as important, it keeps your arms and back from wearing out on an all-day shoot. When a
bingo card, guys. My back. I said it.
Tripod isn't convenient, snuggle up to whatever's handy. A fence.
A woman.
A fence.
A tree.
A rock.
Or your assistant.
A moose. Yeah, as if, right? Like, hey, bitch. That's something that's going to be like completely unrealistic as I was watching this. That he's going to be using techniques that you definitely can use. They are viable. Again, nothing against the techniques. It's just if this basically presupposes that you have between 1 and 3 assistants. Like when you go out to shoot on a VHS camera, PS. Like I never had, like when I was doing photography, like semi-professionally, I had no like assistants. I just had to like work with the sun and shit. I had to set up bounce cards. Are you kidding me? Whatever. It's crazy. Just assume you have like a Penn and Teller in the background holding bounce cards and stuff.
If you need to move and shoot, try for at least a 3-point support system.
It'll be awesome.
Your shoulder, your hand grip, and the side of your head.
Nice.
You'd be amazed at what you can get.
Look at it. Yeah, as you hold it against your head and you point it at something, you'd be amazed. There's a key fundamental principle of photography. Be there.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. If you're there, you'll get 100% of the shots that you would not have gotten if you weren't there. Bingo.
That's it. End of the video.
That's why I was like, I bring my camera everywhere now. Because I'm like, if I'm missing all these shots because I don't bring the camera, I'm there already. Might as well bring the camera.
It's good.
A video camera.
I want to see like this melded with the, speaking of The Simpsons, the microphone, the magic microphone that Homer got Bart, where like he's holding it like in one hand and like the camera in the other, and he's like, "Hey, good looking." He's like, "We'll be back to pick you up later." And he just runs off.
Camera is a truly beautiful thing, and for what
like
you
this lady, guys.
I thought he was recording her.
Got a case of the that guys. No, he's just like she was walking by and he rudely filmed her without consent.
paid, you ought to protect it.
Remember these? Seagulls.
Don't.
They're useful.
Ever point your camera at the sun.
True.
How? Instant burn. It can cause permanent damage to your camera tube.
I don't know. But it
Camera
doesn't really hold
tube.
up anymore. Whatever. I've accidentally pointed my mirrorless and DSLR cameras at the sun. No damage because there's built-in safety features now for dummies like me. But still, not a great idea. Like sometimes you can shoot into the sun where it's like something or like in the background or whatever, and you can like obscure it a little bit. Like maybe you're shooting with a high f-stop to get like a big sunburst. I don't know. Like it's no big deal now, is what I'm getting at. Like that you don't have tubes to blow out.
Camera tube.
Oh, dang it, my tubes!
Always keep the lens cap on when your camera is not in use.
Okay.
For real, yeah. Every time I swap a lens or I put the camera down, lens cap goes right back on. Good thing to remember. Don't keep them in your pocket. Don't set it down somewhere and say, I'll get it somewhere. Camera son, says James. Or I read this magazine called Handshots. You know, from Pee-wee football to the Amish, we've got it all on video. Oh, yeah, it's Clearwater Revival cover group. I want this to be like a Fail Army video now.
Yeah.
Oh, lame.
What, wallpaper.
Was this put on by the people from The Office? Like one clump of balloons? This one has zero helium. Neither of these, obviously.
It is your birthday.
Remember, guys, are you guys old enough? It was huge in the 90s, by the way. It was huge in the 90s. Wallpaper. It feels like so crazy now. It like lasted from like the Old West, from like the Victorian through the Old West days. You can see it like we got a tombstone or whatever. Last all it's like the 90s.
Yeah, my mom used to wallpaper.
Wallpaper. Do people
bathrooms.
still do it?
Huh?
I haven't seen. I don't go to a lot of people's houses anymore, but like I haven't seen wallpaper on a wall in nigh on 20 year, 30 year. I don't know.
My mom used to she would wallpaper our houses that we had, and she would wallpaper other people's bathrooms and shit.
My mom would wallpaper our house like literally once every 6 months. She would do all of her friends' house. Like I was always at somebody else's house, like killing time or like trying to find what channel was what where they lived. As my mom hung wallpaper, I go, Jesus Christ! Like how many days?
And like the
and nights
process.
we lost to wallpaper in the 90s. It was huge. That was huge.
It was huge.
It was
But
huge in the 90s.
the process of wallpaper was insane until they had the ones that like are basically peel and stick. But
Yeah.
like your mom had the glue and all that shit.
Here's the thing that's underserved, and it's sad because now it's gone. But like in my grandma's house, speaking of wood paneling, is what brought it up, FDO. The hallway in the house was wood paneling on the sides, but at the end of the hallway, instead of emptying into a room, it had to you had to shoot right, so it was like an L shape. But like that dead end wall was just like a wall of mirrors, like cut into it was very 70s. It was just cut into diamonds and had that like gold sort of filigree pattern all over it. It was so cool and like so retro and awesome. And then like ripped it out. One of my mom was like, oh, it's not cool anymore. And my grandma just let her do it. I had to stand there and watch as this beautiful piece of art got destroyed.
I now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride.
You're married by a toad.
There are various types
look
of
like
sounds
a
that you will
coach.
encounter in video production.
They look at relive that passion as many times as they want now that they have a VHS copy.
Dialogue, sound effects, wild or non-synchronous sound, and
Wild.
of course, music.
All right, let me zoom in on these the organ keys.
The audio portions of your video recorder have excellent
It's like Christmas with Dennis. Jamie, you know what I'm talking about.
fidelity, so make use of them.
Definition of
They're
sound.
like, hey, we're going to be shooting a video that teaches you how to shoot video. Can you get a bunch of dudes who play like lame instruments and like, all the colors that mustard comes in, basically? Oh my God.
The succession of slight, rapid variations in
Oh,
air
where are we
pressure
going? Fundamentals of sound.
What's the definition
that
of sound?
travel over a distance,
Whoa.
like a
A
billiard ball.
distance.
Sound travels in a straight line until
If
it
that were a
hits
bat,
something.
it would hear those
The waves
echoes
bounce
and
off
eat the moths.
and continue in a straight line until they hit something else.
Is that like phone on
Sound.
the floor in the corner? Tonight, you know what sound is.
Moving on.
Sound
You guys
waves
want to know what taste is next? Hopefully it comes up.
are really variations in air pressure. These
Really?
perfect ripples are picked up on a very sensitive transducer or electronic eardrum in a microphone.
Interesting.
There, they're converted to electronic information, then relayed to the audio recording head in the camera recorder.
It's like a stream running through a countryside meadow. Sound flows to your camera, like an ear or something.
Sound waves are transferred magnetically to the videotape and stored for playback by reversing the process we just went through. Not too much
I
to it,
won't do it
really.
again.
If it is laid down right, good sound is clear and distinct. It doesn't sound like this. It has no fuzzy edges. There are no rags.
How embarrassing. This is so embarrassing. It's so sad. Obviously, they have to sing a public domain song because, like, what are they going to do? Be like, hey, we're to license, like, Smoke on the Water for our VHS training video. So, no, they go, hey, well, at least we can get a band, right? Everybody looks around, like, how much do we have? Look, they're all pockets, and it's like,
$14.
we have $14.88. Like, all right, that'll get us one banjo player and one guy who will hit his thighs with some drumsticks that we have to provide. And I go, all right, I mean, we got to do it. We got to do it.
Ragged sounds in it. Noises in the background are in their proper place. It's clean and
get
sweet,
lav
and it's
mics.
not that hard to get.
But like here we are, whatever this year is. There's no way you wouldn't have something that isn't wired, and even then, it's going to be a nightmare.
The main cause of distortion or bad sound is simply overloading your system. Like people, machines have their limits. Know their limits, and you can control distortion. It all
Push 'em too
boils
far,
down
they'll
to your
snap.
recording volume. Sound professionals will tell you that the lower you keep your recording volume, the better. And that means keeping as close to your sound source as possible. When you start
true.
moving your mic away from your source, you're losing control and letting background sounds become louder and more obtrusive.
So hold on loosely and don't let go. But yeah, obviously, that's the problem. He's going to get into it. But like, no matter how, you think that little antenna, like 2 or 3 inches, and you go, like, oh, perfect sound. Like before it was all echoey, and now with that little boom, whoo, hot
Best
damn.
sound ever.
Crystal clear.
Also, the type of sound you get partially depends on the type of microphone you use. Microphones are classified by the patterns in which they pick up sounds.
True.
There are 2 kinds you'll be concerned with. This kind is called unidirectional.
Onboard.
The unidirectional microphone is very selective. It gives you a pickup pattern of about 80 degrees. Sounds to the side and back are subdued. It's good for most general shooting situations you'll encounter.
So like these mics that we're using right now, you can't see Chris's right now, but they're unidirectional. They shoot down the tube at the diaphragm in the back. So like on the side, it's kind of deadening, but up front, yeah, it's nice. And like the Blue Yeti Snowball or whatever, both of those. Like you can set the Omni. Like if you have like a bunch of bros come over, you can set it in the middle of the room and it'll pretty much catch everything. It'll be a little echo, but you know what I mean. It's all good stuff. The only thing is, I'm not like that was the easy one. Like the type of microphone is so specific. It depending on your application, you know what I mean? But now like everything sounds so good. Like you can buy, just like based on my experience, like with being obsessed a little bit with sound recording equipment for a very long time, just in the amount of time I've been going through and testing shit from like the cassette recorder to now, like the quality is like, because the high tide lifts all ships. Like I used to have to, like, it was like we're being recorded by cavemen. It was so like you'd be like, oh my god, was this dug out of like an archaeological site? It was so terrible. I mean, now you can spend $20 on Amazon, and before it breaks, which it will because you're spending basically nothing, it'll sound passable.
Yeah.
Like, gone are the days where people start podcasts with like those onboard microphones they gave you when you bought a computer. That they have a big sticker you stuck on the side of the monitor, and you like shove it up your nose to like talk into it. Ridiculous. Gone are those days. Like, basically, you have to fuck up so hard because technology is built to already cover your shortcomings. So you have to be like extra, like slathered in extra to get like something you do to sound like shit nowadays.
So much extra.
Unidirectional mics eliminate most unwanted extraneous sources that are present as you record. However, they oftentimes need to be close to the source and carefully aimed. Otherwise, the sound quality will deteriorate rapidly.
All right, players, lift the guns all the way up and out of the holders. Aim them down at the belly button on the bottom.
I love this show.
This is known as being off mic. If your situation requires a not-so-selective pickup pattern, you'll want to look at using an omnidirectional microphone. The omnidirectional microphone is not...
Going to a carnival, the three of us going to a carnival, and you're like, I'm going to fucking take my giant Sony camcorder so I can record you guys playing this water gun.
Nothing. That's basically nothing because, like, there's always going to be early adopters and always people who, like, jump onto the whatever because it's new and they want to whatever. So imagine being the dude or selection of dudes across this globe that got the cameras that weren't able to record internally, so you had to wear a travel VCR to record to a full-sized cassette.
Yeah, no.
And dads were running around, spinal injuries off the charts, because you know that, like, that's the thing. I've obviously nothing that extreme because, like, that's the age we live in. But, like, I've carried around big cameras with huge lenses and gotten cramps. I can't imagine carrying around, like, 12 pounds of camera and 18 pounds of VCR. And, like...
My dad had a big Sony camcorder, but he would only use it at our house. Like, he would never leave the house with it.
Yeah, when we had a VHS camera. Hold on.
Holy moly!
Sorry, I was late. I was polishing my trivia trophy.
Well, I don't want to hear about what you do in your private hours, Maxwell. But yeah, like when we had the one that recorded to a full-size VHS, that was basically just to dick around with at home. When we got like the mini cassettes, I went buck wild with one of those things, man. I was everywhere. I was recording everything. I was exploiting that thing to the fullest because, like, my aunt and uncle, they always adopted the technology first. Yeah. And, like, eventually my parents got jealous or whatever, and they got, like, the dollar store version at our house. So, yeah, it was like my cousin had, like, this awesome top-of-the-line Sony, and then, like, my parents come home like one day and they go, "Hey, guess what? We got like $1. It's like a Sanyo, whatever like the worst. No shade to Sanyo. Maybe they were good, but it was like not good."
It's not selective. It features a pickup pattern of 360 degrees. It lets you pick up sounds equally well from all directions.
In a room.
It can also be small and compact.
But do yourself a favor. If you're in that room, put some sound deadening material around you. If you don't have like the foam pads, like I've got over, they're mostly off camera. You can kind of see some over here. But like a blanket, moving blankets, any blanket, really soft shit.
Compact, typically used as a lavalier or wireless mic. Keep in mind, it's important to use the correct microphone and correct placement to ensure the best sound quality in any shooting application. Let's look at some examples.
Okay.
Okay. Let's sing a song for Mom.
Okay. In situation one, you're shooting a simple sequence.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch this video in the future, right? Like, okay, ready? Sing for Mom. And like, you're the kid. Number one, like, this is awkward. Number two, like, when are you going to pull out this VHS in the future?
When your kid's going to get married.
Movie night, kids. Run to the video closet. Let's watch the time that me and Dad awkwardly sang "She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain."
Sequence around the home. The sound will be adequate using the mic built into the camera. The camera mobility you need here is minimal, and you can stay close to your sound source.
Look at that couch.
Situation two.
Sweater.
This company to join this young couple in the bonds of holy matrimony.
Hot dogs.
You want maximum
Hot
camera
dogs.
flexibility, but under the circumstances, distinct sound from a single source is important. The ideal solution is to clip a wireless mic on your subject. Although the wireless is an omnidirectional mic, it's usually placed so close to the source of sound.
Hilarious. Why did they have to show him a reaction shot of like, oh yeah, is that the microphone? Yep, nope, it's not in frame. Keep in mind, nothing is happening in frame. It's just me looking up and down.
Little else
Really
is picked up.
elemental.
The wireless
What kind
will
of
get
church
you
is
good
this?
sound quality and let you shoot
Lutheran?
from any camera angle you desire.
Oh yeah, another rule of thumb, my favorite.
Number 1, do not place microphone so that sound can bounce into it from a flat, reflective surface.
What? Ouch.
Number 2, use the same microphone
Mike the
type
Padre.
for an entire sequence if possible.
Why wouldn't it be, right? Like,
Number 3, do not pan the microphone too fast. This creates noise.
it also makes like an unwatchable experience,
Right.
like, video-wise. Like, hey,
You're gonna
it'll
barf.
sound weird. Oh, really? Like everyone will be throwing up. I think I'm gonna be like worried, like, oh, the sound. Ooh, the sound. It's so scratchy.
Look down the bottom.
Little rainbows. Lights. What is light? There's one video. It's the church that FHE started.
I thought Enya was going to start playing for a second.
Naked gun bag.
For simplicity's sake, let's look at how light from one source can make a world of difference in what we feel simply by changing its position.
This
Front
is no
light.
joke. Like,
It's
look,
flat,
this is good.
leaving uninteresting shadows.
Think about this, especially like when you can't control your light source. Think about this. Like when you're in your studio space or whatever, you can move the lights around. Great. Experiment all you want. But like if you're out shooting street or whatever, you always basically want the sun at your back or like thereabouts. You want it to cast interesting shadows, but like anytime you're going to be backlit, like say you're shooting in the early or late afternoon, whenever the like sun is going to be somewhere above you and not below the horizon yet, to like where we're in golden hour or whatever. Watch out, because like you'll think you're taking great shots because you're like you forget to chimp a few shots, and like the background is perfectly exposed, but the dude you were trying to like catch a candid shot of is like black, dark, gone, just like lost because he's underexposed. It's annoying.
Shadows to the side of the nose and face. Underlighting. We see unnatural shadows,
Whoa.
leaving a sort of
Who's the
evil
fairest
look.
one of all, right?
Perhaps
Snow
a
White?
touch
yeah.
of mystery.
What else is in the news?
High side lighting. Aimed at 45 degrees to the subject, we see the classic look of portrait lighting. It
Portrait.
comfortably models the face into a three-dimensional form. Top lighting. Shining directly down, deep shadows form under the eye
Typically, you don't use
sockets,
this.
nose, and chin. Again, a feeling
Like one of my favorite genres of photography is low key. So I'll take whatever, if you know what low key is, take one light source, basically shoot at such a high speed that the only thing like gets proper exposure is the stuff really hit by the light.
Yeah.
So it's like they're coming out of the dark at you. It's like fun to mess around, but typically going from above anything, if you want to like be a spooky or scary shots, the above is like, but then like it's so annoying to try and get a light, like a good light source above somebody.
of mystery and dominance. Side lighting. Splitting the subject in half, it
Yeah.
highlights rugged masculine features or texture of fabric or skin. Side rear lighting. It yields an even more dramatic effect. With a slight shift further behind,
Like
we
if
bring
you're
out the
locked
full
in a
shape
room,
of the
hidden
subject
away from a
in
beast
silhouette.
after your father stole a rose for some reason.
Shooting lights is nothing like it used to be. The camera eye today is sophisticated. It sees
He reaches off camera for like a bourbon and ice.
more
Yep.
with less light. And for
That
your
couch looks
video
comfortable.
setup, the classical three-point method for lighting is perfectly suited.
Key light.
Man, old
The
furniture
sun.
looked fucking crazy, but it was comfortable,
Yeah.
man. Like I remember going to my grandparents' house all the time because they had all that old furniture from like I don't know, bringing it over in a covered wagon or whatever it was. Comfortable as hell, like they were built to last. Like some of them, like the asses had worn through a lot, and like the springs kind of got annoying. But few and far between. Still,
Yeah.
both less. A lot of
The
asses
spotlight.
those things saw.
The main light source falling on your subject. Placement. Just to the left or
Hi-ya!
right of your immediate camera position.
Then you hit them with the other
light.
proton pack. And
According to the classic three-point system, your key is the first light to be set. It's positioned to one side of the camera and focused down at a 45-degree angle. This shortens the shadows that fall behind.
it's really
The
bright,
key light
too.
is the foundation for the rest of your lighting
I'm gonna start
efforts. It
sweating soon.
illuminates the brightest area
Your lighting efforts.
of your picture.
logical.
Naturally, the eye of your viewer will head for it instinctively. Now the fill light.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Phil.
Fill light. Softer, more diffused light. Filling in the shadows created by the key light, leaving just enough shadow for a feeling of depth. Placement. The fill light is placed on the same plane as the camera lens, on the opposite side from your key light. Fill light.
Setting your fill
Look at
light
me. Hey,
is
hey,
easy.
look at that, you're
Its
great.
main job is to bring
Look
out
at it.
detail in the shadows made by the key light. Let's see it again. Off,
Whoa.
there is a heavy shadow.
Uh-oh.
On, the shadow is softened. Too bright, and there's no shadow at all.
Jesus.
That looks flat, uninteresting. Bring it down, and a pleasing mixture.
Break it down.
Ideally, your fill light casts no shadows
that's
itself,
pleasing.
only reduces
Pleasing.
the contrast of light and dark from the key. The final Hollywood touch in your lighting setup comes from the backlight.
Definition.
Backlight. A spotlight from behind. Pulls your
I mean, backlights are nice to have and all, but like, again, like we're talking about what is this for? Maybe I'm confused. I thought this is for like the home video shooter.
Oh, you mean
Right?
they don't have
Like-
17 lights?
We're jumping around from like, oh, when you're out like shooting a play or like carnival games or whatever. Now, if you have the time and you have someone who's like going to shoot a talking head segment for your family documentary, hit these three lights and these like we were just like defining sound and light like as concepts, and they're throwing things like key light around like, oh, needed you please check it.
pulls your subject out into the third dimension. Defines it. Placement. Directly opposite your
Yeah, it
camera
is nice to
position.
have. Who's gonna have the
Behind
time?
your subject.
I mean, unless you're setting up
Elevation.
intentionally, which I often
45
did.
degrees. Backlight.
The backlight is the third light to be set. It's also aimed out at 45 degrees. It complements the key light and fill light and brings me out from the background. See the rim effect around my shoulders and hair? Looks more lifelike. And that's the trick with lighting. You're working for an optical illusion, for the camera's eye.
More lifelike.
The backlight is usually about as strong as the fill light and not quite as strong as the key light. But so much for theory. Cut 'em.
See ya.
In a world heavily dependent on artificial light, there is often enough of it to shoot by. So before you set your lights, use your artistic eye. Scan the scene. You may avoid fussing with any equipment at all. You may be able to get a more natural and authentic feel with a minimum of effort. Realistic interior lighting generally follows a principle called source lighting, which simply suggests that what you're shooting appears to be lit from a source of light that you can see. A window, for example, a lamp, a fireplace, and so on. Or when no particular source is present, the light conveniently falls from above and in the middle of your shooting area.
What?
Another effective technique when shooting in close quarters is bounce lighting. By pointing a light at a wall or ceiling, you can maintain a natural, even-looking lighting effect with a minimum amount of effort. But a word of caution, reflected light will pick up the color of the walls and ceiling.
Right, but typically your ceiling is going to be white. I've used bounce lighting a ton of times, like when we were shooting Raiders. Like bounce light works 10 times out of 10, especially because you're basically never going to have someone to hold a bounce card or like have an extra light just hanging around with an extra tripod or whatever, another power source. Yeah, bounce light, boom, basically fills the room, and you don't have to like have anything harsh blasting you in the face or just like off camera for one of you.
Two problems: limited space and lighting subjects in motion. Let's take a look at how to handle them. In most locations, setting your key and fill lights should be no problem. Keep them close to the camera. Additional backlight and set lighting takes a little ingenuity. Try hiding lights.
Yo, if that was my birthday party and like this dude was like setting up key and backup lights and shit, I'd feel uncomfortable. Those things look expensive, and I would be worried because I'm the type of kid. I was the type of kid. I still am a kid. I was the type of kid who's still worried about shit. And like this kind of expensive shit hanging around the house, like with my rowdy friends and shit, and like cake.
Oh, and not only that, just like I can understand like having a dad taking videos or pictures, whatever, but like all that setup would make me feel really awkward
Right,
just
and,
because
like,
I know what's happening.
This is for you, the home user. It's like, is this the dad setting up the lights? Like, and why didn't he do this earlier, right? Like, now everybody's like, oh,
Well, he had to have everybody come in so he could set the lights up in where they would be walking.
I mean, ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Furniture.
And again, it's like the video you're never going to watch again. Think about this in your own life. You must take videos on your phone. Maybe you take a lot, maybe you take a little. How often do you go back and look at them? Like if it's something funny, like you catch something candid or whatever, maybe you go back because you're showing people. I would get that. But like realistically, how many videos do you take versus go back and watch? Like I've got a bunch of videos on my phone of stuff I thought I would want to go back to. And it's always a surprise when I'm like looking through my albums to like clear shit out. And I go, oh, a video. And I go, oh yeah, I guess I'll see you the next time I forget about it.
Yeah.
That's where we are. Like,
what are we doing here?
am I right?
You'll get some exciting effects. Another trick, pump light from outside of the room through a door or window.
Oh my God.
Set your lights high to cut down on shadow throw. And
Gary
make sure
Busey.
to keep lights and
That's
stands
not the dad
out of
from
your frame.
Beethoven. Charles
The
Grodin.
only way to light for subjects in motion is pre-planning. Know the move in advance. If
Hey,
need be,
Harris. Oh,
set
yeah,
up
let
several
Harris.
places along the line of movement. Your camera should give you some latitude, but first and foremost, make it
What
easy
is
on
this
yourself.
for?
Pick the angle that will give the most light to start with. The same goes for outdoor shooting.
Oh, do you think? Yeah, this is a long shot, but do you think since it's like a big green screen area, like are they shooting this for it to go on like a CD-ROM or like an FMV for a video game somewhere, like somewhere on the 17th or the 7th guest or whatever? Like there's a little GIF of her like and it's all because it started here.
Whoa.
Because why the green screen?
The challenges of lighting
Or the
outside
banjo.
are much the same as indoors, except you have no ceiling,
Yeah, I'll
no
naturally look at
places
the
to
camera.
hang lights. Using the sun
If
as
you
your
wanted to
key
pick
light, the three-point system
What is
can
that
be
white
employed
thing?
using
Or the yellow
devices
thing,
called
sorry.
reflectors,
Mustard?
each taking a
That's a giant thing
position
of mustard.
similar to
All right, cut. I can't wait to watch this video of us picking the banjo at a park.
the lights in the studio. Reflectors are
bounce
used
card.
to redirect sunlight into shadowed areas. This homemade job has aluminum foil on one side
screen the same
and
time?
a white
I don't know. Maybe.
card on the other.
I wasn't in the
The
industry.
soft
I was a
reflector
baby.
is used to fill the shade side of the face, giving off a diffused, softer glow. The hard reflector side casts a brilliant, penetrating beam, almost as bright as the sun itself. It's good for key light or backlight.
Yeah.
No matter what type of
You know, it's
Banjo.
whatever. Like the technology has come so far. You no longer have to like tape foil to the back of cardboard. Like I had some that would like the windshield shades that you get in your car that fold
Oh,
up
yeah.
real nice. You can cram them away. You get them, boom, they get super big. One side's foil, one side's like soft bounce. They would come with like skins. You could have like a silver or a gold or a whatever.
Yeah, we have a whole bunch.
Yeah, it was don't get me wrong. Again, it seems like ridiculous to have somebody stand there with a bounce card because you go like, what are we doing here? But it's, in a pinch, it'll save you a lot of editing, like digital wise, to like sort of brighten everything up. And, but again, you have to have someone there who not only knows like on the fly in situ. If I would say, hey, Chris, I got a bounce card, she would have to go like, aha. And I would have to go like, and bounce the light over here. And she'd have to be like, yeah.
Yeah.
But like again,
No.
that would take like practice. I couldn't just like bring her along and be like, yeah, grab the 36 by 42 bounce card and put the gold skin on it. Hurry.
Yeah, no.
Type of reflector you use,
There's
it must
someone
be
into your
continually
hobby as
adjusted
much as you
as
are.
the sun
And again, this is supposed to be just like shooting around the house. Like they're shooting a fucking banjo picnic, for God's sake.
moves. When following motion outdoors, avoid
Video
shooting into a
emotional stay
bright
in
sky
motion.
background or heavily backlit area as you follow the
Spielberg's
action.
third
They will
love
cause
film.
loss of detail and color.
Yeah.
Right, don't shoot into the sun. Always put the sun at your back. If you can. If you can't, watch out. Have you seen it? Capturing the Freedmans? No, never even heard of it, as a matter of fact. The indecision of
There are 5 basic guidelines to help you compose your shots. Now, they are not hard and fast rules designed to limit your creative ability. Not every guideline applies to every situation, but they are a place to start, and learning to master their principles is where creative freedom begins.
It'd be funny if like this is a hard cut to like somewhere else in these woods. It's just like, yeah, a mildly overweight woman in her 40s, like maybe bleach blonde hair, like just standing in the woods with a bikini, and he like steps in off screen to like This feels like so much like at any moment it could turn into like a weird, gross corn movie.
First of the guidelines is...
But I don't want to keep like making generalized assumptions because the mustache and the hair, it feels very like,
Yeah.
I don't know. You get Gen Xers and millennials like will always see porn stars as like this dude.
Yeah.
Simplicity.
It's a thing. It was huge in the
Don't
90s,
complicate
the
your
70s
shots by
Huge.
placing
Maybe
primary
this guy's dead
subjects
now.
against congested backgrounds.
Maybe.
And don't try to have too much going on in the shot.
Time makes the rules of
Each
the song.
scene should have a single, simple story to tell. Often, as in
Yeah,
these
make her put her
examples,
hair
that
up.
may mean altering camera position, the size of the image, or, when possible, selecting the best.
Notice the aspect ratio too. They're shooting a 4:3 because widescreen wasn't invented. Like for movies it was, but all your TVs, your CRTs, and your cameras, it was 4:3, 35 millimeter for film. But like anything motion video, like that, everything looks so weird now. Like when you go back and watch The Simpsons, for instance, like you can turn off the adapted widescreen and it's still like the little box version. It's crazy.
Best
We
background.
didn't put up with that shit in the 90s.
Beware of the merger. Lines or objects that cut through your subject as though the two were merging are a common
Stabbing her in
background
the
problem.
head.
They not only distract the viewer,
What?
but mergers also accent the two-dimensional quality
in.
of video
What?
and just plain don't look good.
Yuck.
Remember, keeping it simple is not always simple, but it is always important.
Stupid.
Now, let's get to the most basic
those
issue.
initials.
You know the scene you want and the subject, but where do you position the subject in the frame?
The middle.
There's no end of choices. Anybody
Left.
can
No,
tell
that's wrong. No.
That too. And even that doesn't seem quite right.
Nope.
Most people give up and figure if they put the subject right in the middle, they can't be too far off.
Here's the annoying thing, like whatever. Like
The rule of
photographer's-
thirds.
Photographer's pet peeve. Yeah, the rule of thirds and like the golden ratio, whatever. You can look it up. Going places where they have a bunch of animals, you go awesome. But when they're behind cages, you're fucked because like now your autofocus wants to hit the cage and will bounce between the two, and then you just have like these weird hash patterns all over the subject, and you go like, well, what am I doing here? Like you're straining to get the picture of a bird that's just sitting there confused while you are like swearing at a black box in your hand because why
And they're right. They aren't too far off. They're off just enough to lose the opportunity for truly good composition. The rule of thirds has been a standard
show
guideline
this
for
on YouTube?
composition
Oh my
since
God.
the ancient Greeks used it to proportion their statues and buildings. The world of photography and
Why are
video
they
has
using a
long
different
since
color
adapted the
than the rest
principle
of
and
it?
found it just as useful as it was then. Mentally divide the frame into thirds, horizontally
Too many true
and
stories.
vertically. Then simply position your subject where two of the lines cross.
Don't move,
Bingo.
bird.
The point you choose depends on the
Whoa.
feeling you're after, how the shot will relate to the next one, and the other elements you wish to include.
Yeah, it's so easy now. Like you can even in my like the viewfinder of my Nikon, like if I wanted to, I could put a grid pattern. It's like a 1.3 million dot resolution thing. If I whatever, I can put the what's it called? You can put a level in it so you always know when you're level. Like it's so easy now. Back when I was shooting like on a 35 millimeter point and shoot, you just like you sprayed and prayed. You didn't even spray. You got to do one. You point in the right direction. You went click. And you go, God, like I hope. And everybody's like pupils are always blown out orange.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that was just a way. Now, like it's so easy. Technology makes everything so much easier. And I imagine it makes like the people who had to work hard, like upset a little bit. But like I would never have been able to do film.
No.
Holy crap. Purchase of Madison Kodak. Come on, kids, we're getting some cider. Horse farted again. They always do that. Why? I hate that.
Framing is another guideline of composition which can add appeal to your shots. Use your eye and look for frames within frames, like these.
Ooh.
Right. See, what I would have done is try like hell to remove. Maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't, but up there, like, obnoxiously was their air return vent.
Up where?
Ugh.
Oh, and this video?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't want to go back to it, but it was up there. And I would have cropped, like, whatever. That's one of my pet peeves, but, like, they did their best. Obviously, you see, like, it would have been terrible framing if they tried to crop that out because it, like, had so much symmetry otherwise. Remember, you're shooting 4x3, so you got to keep that in mind, too. Confirmed. Yeah, it's a square.
As you've seen with the first three guidelines, the most important function of composition is to direct the viewer's eye to the central story in each shot. The concept of leading lines is a handy device that takes care of that job in a most pleasing manner by leading the viewer to the subject.
Check out his elbow. It's pleasing as hell. Never developed my own film.
It's easy to make.
Like I think, generation-wise, my cousin was also a photographer. She started in film, like, and was developing her own film, like doing artsy photography and stuff like that, and also like transitioned. So she went from like she was one of those horses to cars people. She went from like owning a darkroom and having all the chemicals to like buying Photoshop for the first time and then having Lightroom and shit. Like what a mind-blowing experience to have to like house chemicals and vats and wipe stuff down and like hang things and take up physical space to all of a sudden just being like click, 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 click. You go, woo, I didn't go blind from the fumes.
Make lines work.
Like the physical editing you would have to do, like dodging and burning your photography, like to get the shadows and the shapes of everything that you see in your head that you always have to do in editing. Like, oh my God.
For you, but you have to look. They come in all shapes and sizes.
We've got to be in Pennsylvania with all these Amish people running around. Yes, another one. Write this down.
Golfing.
Don't. Allow a line to cut a shot directly in the middle. Do. Remember, the best starting point for a line is usually the left-hand side, because our eyes are trained to read left to right.
Balance is...
Real quick, too, like when you're taking pictures, if you're not going to like crop them later and you don't afford yourself that and shoot wide, and you look at something and it always looks weird the way you shot it, split the limb. Like if that meaning, like if you take a photo of someone and like you cut their feet off accidentally, cut their leg between the ankle and the knee or between the knee and the pelvis. It'll make it
not look like it was purpose. Yeah,
and it'll crispen it up a little bit because a lot of people like you'll see like an inch of the foot or like too much calf or like way too much thigh or not enough thigh. You go, what the fuck? Like, it's simple things like that can ruin a photo because you don't even think about it.
Is an important consideration in any creative effort. In video composition, it can be broken down into two areas. The balance between the objects in the frame and the balance of light.
I would have asked for what they had capri pants. I would have enlisted for some of those.
It's so strange that his arm sleeves are
Balancing
longer
objects
than
in
his
your
short
shots
pants.
doesn't necessarily mean equal weights. It simply means your frame needs to be rounded out and used well.
Goodbye,
These are the
child.
5
It was nice
rules
meeting
of
you.
composition, but remember, they're only
Always go back to the
guidelines
rule
designed to be
of
flexible,
dress.
creative tools. Practice them, and they'll come as naturally as looking through your viewfinder. Another key to good composition is the camera
Bridges.
angle. Angles have a great impact on making shots appear three-dimensional. Flat angles make the scene appear flat. With a slight change, you can give the shot depth as well as provide more visual information.
Another thing that I think we have now that makes it easy that I don't, otherwise you have to literally spray and pray. Like now that my Nikon again has technology, like the back of it has a big 2.5 by 1.8 inch LCD screen. So if I wanted to get an interesting angle that I would never have been able to get before, I'll pop out the view screen, hold it up above something and be able to see and compose the shot, find my focal point and everything. Whereas if I had used the viewfinder exclusively, I would never trust myself to do that. And also having to manually focus.
Yeah.
I can basically just look up, hit a couple of buttons, and boom, there's something that you wouldn't have been able to grant yourself before unless you're some sort of savant.
This is in Indiana.
Oh, nice. The Bridges is mad.
Angles can also have a psychological impact on your viewer. For example, when the camera and the subject are on an equal level, your viewer will have a sense of equality.
I feel like they've been shooting this so long, the season is changing around. I feel like we started in summer and now we've moved into fall.
Well, yeah, he had shorts on.
Yeah, his sack was out and now he's it's getting brisk.
With the
Get my
subject.
sweater.
Make it higher,
He's got
and the
pants.
subject gets smaller and seemingly less important. Move to a lower angle, and the size and importance of the subject is magnified.
Oi, oi, oi.
He's as tall as a tree.
Yeah, right here he has an oddity in no time.
No matter how simple the action, there is a potential
There's a
story
reaction.
composed of simple actions
Hey, look, a roller
and
coaster.
simple reactions. And along with each story, there is
Come on, Mom,
always
you
a
wore a
simple
dress to
plot
the park.
with a beginning,
A middle.
a middle,
And then what?
The beginning again?
and an end.
Woo! Mom!
Telling a videotape story uses everything you've learned so far about setting up a shot and then goes a step further.
Imagine trying to do this now. Go to Disneyland or anywhere and just be like, hey, look, there's a bit of scenery. I'm going to stand 30 foot back and you guys go and do a bunch of goofy shit in front of it.
It's fine. There's no one around.
Whoa, that'll be fun, Dad, Mom. We're teenagers. Yeah, let's waste a bunch of fucking time in front of a sign that says, Alfalfa Gardens. Yeah, oh, wait, whoa, look at me, I'm making... No, that's no.
It lets you put shots together into a sequence and sequences into a smooth and logical
not
story.
Disney.
It's what's called continuity, and it's easy to learn when you begin at the beginning.
It's the African Queen.
As director,
Yeah.
your responsibilities are many, but they come down to putting ideas and
The Alfalfa Gardens.
visuals together in a way that makes aesthetic sense. Your
I'm
first
gonna take video
responsibility
of
is
Dad
Can't
washing
sue
your
me
car.
if I blaspheme something that doesn't exist. Yeah, Dad's washing his Fiat.
White
always your
pants.
audience.
Hey, let's go play Frisbee by the car Dad's washing. Hey, cool. Yay, honey. Should I grab the camcorder? Fuck yeah, baby. You guys get the Frisbee. I'm going to wash the Fiat. Your mom's going to fucking record it. Later tonight, I'll make T-bone steaks and we'll watch the video. Fuck yeah. Of course I want to do that. Yes, I'm going to fucking wash my Fiat. Get the fucking camera.
Using them is the worst thing a storyteller can
Jesus,
do.
yes, of course.
It's all in your frame. The audience will view all story action, but remember, they're getting it secondhand. They're depending upon you. What
Did I
you
say Fiat? I meant Fiero. My Fiero.
put in here is what
that
they
funny?
get. So
Yes.
Fix
think
it again,
logically.
Tony.
And remember to tell a story. All story action
very
breaks
flat
down into
top house.
sequences. They're the basic units of
It's a classic
storytelling,
Indiana house.
like paragraphs, really. And each sequence has 3 all-important elements, all vital to getting your story across. First, you establish
There's
the
the
setting.
story.
Let your viewer get his bearings and orient him to the action that will follow.
Look at him go.
It's called
There's
the
a car.
long shot. Next, you move in closer and set up the medium shot. Remember, your lens is the audience's eye. You've got to be thinking for them always.
I can't, like, I'm questioning the audience of this video, because it's like you're going to be shooting something with a narrative focus. But again, we're talking about like doing it at home. And here are people doing things not narratively important. Again, whatever, my
This is for
hilarious
practice.
aside of the washing the car and like we're going to go play Frisbee around to the side. Like, why would you need a setup, a long shot, a medium shot, and a close-up of this for like a home video? Why? Why are you recording this, number one? Number two, like, if we are going to be like, yeah, we're doing to get all this coverage because later you'll be editing it and like really editing, like, come on. You people are like doing tape to tape in their own home? No. Like, again, treat it like a narrative where they're going to be like, oh, hey, I'm doing something that's supposed to be, but like, what are we doing? I don't get it.
Of all the possibilities in the long shot, you've zeroed in on some specific action. The medium shot gets you down to business. And then on to the payoff, the most expressive of the 3 basic continuity
Money
shots,
shot.
the close-up.
She's
It
so
holds
much
the greatest viewer
closer
impact.
than
It
this.
reveals the subject's thoughts and emotions. It's definitely your most important shot.
I feel like where she
But let's
put
back
her
up a minute.
camera
Notice
down.
between the wide shot,
was, like,
medium, and
right
the
up in
close-up,
his
the
face.
camera angle changes
It's a
by at
close-up.
least 45 degrees.
Yeah, but it
you
was
should
farther
always
away
try
in
to
the-
move your camera by at
this.
least that far.
Definition.
So that's another problem too, right? Like, I run into this all the time. Is like, you run into a situation, you're not sure what focal length to use, so you end up just grabbing something that's a catch-all, or hopefully, but I don't know, man. Like, that's with these telephoto lenses. Again, like, I don't know what the deal is. Because I never used anything like this.
Yeah.
Everything I used was built in. So, like, I never had to spin anything. You just hit T or W, and it was all, I felt, maybe it wasn't. I feel like mine was, because you could hear, like, a mechanical process happening when you were, like, zooming in.
Oh.
But, like, now, every time you hit like, zoom in on anything, it's going to be digitally zoomed in. Like, there's no mechanical... Like, so it's not messing with the focal length. Like, when I
Yeah.
go from a
Your
40
lens
millimeter
doesn't move.
to an 85 or whatever. I don't know. But again, why are we doing this? Whose video?
The general
journal
rule.
is this?
The general rule of continuity states when shooting a sequence, be sure to change the size of the image, or change the angle, or both, in
Yeah.
between
Or
every
neither.
new shot. The general rule.
Thank you, lady.
Where's Shaq?
The general
back
rule
here.
is
God,
a
I
tough
love
one
this
to live
place.
up to, but there are a couple of other types of
Still
shots you
don't
can
know
count
what
on
it
to
is.
get you through. They're called cut-ins and cutaways.
The one bridesmaid.
Cut-ins are shots that cut into the central action.
Cutting
These
the
are
meat of the bone. Yeah, whatever. Think about these things. I guess let's just treat this as like, you're shooting a YouTube channel now, because like, why would you be doing? And here, like, seriously, think about this. Cut-ins during a wedding. Like, you're back there, you're getting your master or your wide, right? And they go boop boop, rings are on, and you go, okay, guys, take those rings off. I'm going to zoom in on your hands, put them back on, and I'll cut it in later.
Yeah.
Like,
We'll
everyone
fix it
in
post.
the room would look at you and go like, the fuck are you talking about? Unless you're like paid to do that, in which case, why would you be watching this video?
Like,
Where are we? Where are we?
These are usually close-ups and focus the viewer's attention on central events. Cutaways, also referred to as reaction shots, are close-ups or medium shots that depart from the main action to show a related subject, a reaction to the central story or other action going on at the same time. Cut-ins and cutaways.
Yeah, think about it. Like, you can use that for good and evil. Like, whenever I use the cut away or to or fro or whatever, it would always be for comedic purposes. Like, the jump cut is one of the funniest things you can do. I suggest it highly.
Cutaways are valuable because they make your story more interesting. And on the practical level, they're shots you can use to cover yourself
married.
when you change angles.
Baby.
There's 3 people in the audience.
Time to pump my wife.
Being a director is easy when you get cooperation from your actors. With script in hand, you've got the world by the tail. You can turn an everyday event into a family epic with controlled action continuity.
All you have to do is set up the lighting, get a subject to hold your bounce card, make everybody do everything at least 4 times as you get a wide, mid, close-up, and then maybe one from an alternate angle just for coverage. And then make them do it 4 or 5 more times as you do it for close-ups and reaction shots. And then we could go like, oh yeah, shoot over people's shoulder and stuff as they talk. Make everybody say everything they say that's witty or worthy of note, like twice. And you shoot over each of their shoulders and see how you feel about it in the editing suite. Jesus.
As Dad washes the car.
Yeah, that was a terrible camera angle for that bridesmaid.
Rough time for these families.
Hey, get away from the car with the frisbee.
Me too. I thought it was the kid.
There's like 3 kids.
Oh, God. They're both home from college. They're professors. It's a Ferrari. Jesus.
It's the midlife crisis car.
Oh, my Ferrari!
Watch out for that car.
Take that, Dad. It's piss. What was that movie? Someone, if Jameson, if you're still here, help me out because you'll know this. There's one movie where like a kid's getting bullied and like he fills a water gun with piss. And they go, "What are you gonna do?" It's like, he like lets him know it's piss and he rides away like on a tricycle. Ugh. I feel like I watched that movie so many times when I was young and now it's all gone. It was an 80s thing. I don't know how to be huge about that.
Huge in the 80s.
I don't know about the 80s. Don't know shit about the 80s. What are we doing here?
Just catching all this on
See the number
camera.
of shots that they used and the public domain music? See how they inserted shots and did cutaways and reactions? See how they made you watch See how they made you watch somebody that somebody like wrote and thought that it was good enough to put in here sans explanation or breakdown? Look, they're spraying each other with small amounts of water. Oh, shit.
The movie was called We.
The review? No,
The movie?
the movie.
Camera,
It's called We.
sound, lighting, composition,
Action.
and directing a story.
Lubricant.
It's up to you to develop these skills. You've got the...
What? What?
What?
How do you suppose that happened, people? How do you suppose that an alternate audio track made it onto this VHS cassette tape? Like, I get recording over somebody else's radio playlist accidentally. How do you accidentally record their radio playlist onto somebody else's video cassette?
Sometimes the lights are shining on me.
What? Let's skip ahead.
As you can imagine, there are all kinds of lighting conditions that you will encounter in your video productions.
Concept of
and each situation will have its own unique blend of light sources to try your talents. Could be shadows when you're at the zoo. direct sunlight at the beach.
Yeah, watch out for that.
Incandescent light when you shoot a rock band demo reel.
You'll always be doing that. Like,
when you shoot a rock band demo.
catch me outside any day of the week, right? You go, hey, Dave, where are you headed off to? I go, I'm off to shoot a rock band demo reel again. Third one today, I'll say, probably. Time.
The P Kid movie is called The Boy That Could Fly, starring Fred Savage.
Okay, yeah, I knew it was a Savage. Yeah.
There you go.
PV amp, right? Ugh. Whatever. Ampeg, it's a little pricey, but the quality.
Natural interior from various sources while you're shooting a pilot for a TV show. Fluorescent lights when you're shooting a sports training tape. Bright shades during a travel log taping.
Do it.
Cloudy, overcast conditions, shooting your son's first goal. Or night conditions at that pool party.
Shooting your son's first action.
Maybe it's a combination of two or more of these sources. Or some we haven't mentioned. What
just do pulling a zombie.
What's important to keep in mind is that all light has certain characteristics. Its quality, its intensity or brightness, and its color temperature.
We'll be touching on these characteristics from time to time throughout the show. But
doesn't he, maybe it's an optical illusion, but I feel like he likes like one of that Hulk villain, not Maestro, but like the doctor with the giant head.
He's got hair like the Munchkins from the...
Or he looks like Ken Griffey Jr. with elephantitis after drinking that nerve tonic.
Oh.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, boom.
But right now, you want to focus on the concept of contrast between area of light and dark in your picture frame every time you take a shot.
To begin with, there are two basic conditions of light quality. Outside is a good place to show you what I mean. The first is hard light.
That headband.
Yeah.
This means the quality of light is highly direct.
Hey, we're going to be playing like we're at a summer camp. Dress appropriately. Dude's like, I got it.
Handkerchief.
You rolled this bandana way too fucking tiny.
You can easily tell the direction it's coming from. And it's very concentrated. The light waves are practically parallel, giving clearly defined shadows and lighted areas. With hard light, the balance of dark and light areas is clearly defined. That is, the contrast between the two is very great.
Ugh, that guy.
During the shade, or on an overcast day, we find a lighting situation giving...
Here's your Kool-Aid. Don't smell it.
The quality of soft light. With soft light, the texture of light is diffused. The light waves are bouncing all around, filling in shadowed areas, apparently coming from all directions.
Soft light will make your picture soft, guys. Don't take that for granted. If you go out on an overcast day or any time you don't have direct light, you number one, you're going to have an issue with your camera focusing in a low light situation, possibly depending on the model, but also because without the sharpness and the atmospheric conditions there presented there for you, it's not going to work out so great. But sometimes you just have to be there. Yeah, it's not about sharpness. It might be about expression, the storytelling.
Here, the balance of light and dark areas is more even, giving us a lower contrast between the two.
The Von Dutch hat.
Compare them both. Hard, directional light gives us a high contrast. Soft, diffuse light gives us a low contrast.
Soften his mustache.
In almost any lighting situation, people and things are illuminated by both hard and soft. Here inside, Gramps' sunlight through the window is the hard, directional source of light. But at the same time, light naturally reflecting off the ceiling and walls of the room give us a soft light as well. The combination is pleasing both to your eye and the camera's
fireplace in the wall.
Understanding the concept of balance.
Falling asleep to an Irma Bombach novel.
Or ratio of these two kinds of light is central to the art of lighting for videography.
Contrast ratio.
I missed the other.
The relationship of the brightest area to the darkest area in your picture frame. A key concept. Contrast ratio.
So we have different qualities of light. Hard and soft.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, obviously, it's got to be some sort of optical illusion because they're hitting him way too hard with their key light here. Obviously, it's like blown out, so it's appearing as like a larger target than it is, I hope. Or maybe because like look at his gaze. He's like locked in. It feels like look at her posture, and she's looking directly to camera. She is very uncomfortable about this man, and I have to feel like this is a lot of the reason, right, guys? You're with me. Type of one in the chat if I'm right.
However, these two qualities of light don't necessarily have to do with the intensity or brightness of the light.
Welcome back,
That's right. Hard and soft refer to the quality of light, not its brightness.
You've noticed my friend Joni here has been a great help thus far in our discussion, so I'm sure she won't mind helping out further. To begin with, she's got something we
this
all...
definitely does look like what pop culture told you getting drugged would look like. Like you come over from
Take
Halloween,
acid.
you eat a piece of candy without checking it. And you
need to know about.
This is what you see.
That's right, an eye. In fact, two of them. And Joni here is going to get into a lot of trouble.
Julia.
We all can, if we assume our eyes see like this, the video camera lens. The facts are your camera sees things in a much different way than your eyes do. And knowing the difference is important to your handling the contrast ratio of dark to light areas in your picture frame. Your eye is far more sensitive to light. We see clearly in situations where video cameras see poorly at best. Both in very dark and very bright settings, we can see detail clearly, where the camera might be pressed to give a clear image. Compare the eye's ability to handle contrast ratios of 1,000 to 1 to your video camera's 30 to 1. There's a big difference there. When the scene has highlights that exceed the 30 to 1 ratio that the camera can handle, the camera will not be able to produce details in these areas. When the overall level of the scene is high, and the primary subject is in deep shade, causing the dark area to fall outside of the 30 to 1 ratio capability of the camera.
So, like, sensors and stuff are so powerful and sharp now. Like, I think Hasselblad is putting out 100 megapixels in their medium format. I think Canon and Nikon are like right around there. Like they're pushing it to like 40 or 50. I think the Z7 has 48 or whatever. Like it's only a matter of time, I feel, before they figure out, and it's probably just a matter of like circuitry and processor power, but like an adaptive system where like, because you can mess with the ISO, right? You can have auto ISO where it'll automatically gauge what it thinks the ISO should be set at. But I think like the next step with intelligent computational whatever is like something that can view that image and literally pick which pixels it wants to over and underexpose.
Oh.
But then I feel like that would also be kind of cheating because they kind of do that now in like in post-processing. There's this new feature with AI computation or whatever where you can adaptive whatever. So adaptive black and white or adaptive color. So it'll look at it, you know, see what is the subject, what's the background, what the important parts are. And based on all of that, you know, experience it gets from everybody's photos, it'll go, this is how we think it should light it. And how much we would color it and saturate it or whatever.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the thing. I don't know. Half of the fun, at least to me, maybe most of it, is like getting out there and finding or creating or manifesting or whatever the right situation to take a good photo. Because I like to do everything I do as much as I can in camera.
Yeah.
But if I had a camera that would like, all I'd have to do is just like, you wouldn't even need like a viewfinder or a rear screen. Just like point it, whatever. You'd have like 48 megapixels so you could crop it as much as you want and still blow it up in a huge print or whatever. The resolution is still going to be amazing. Never have to do anything. So yeah, I don't know. But I just felt like that might be on the horizon, is like they could figure out, but it would be like, probably insane. Like you need like a quantum computer because like a 48 megapixel, 48 million pixels, all having to be controlled based on how much ISO sensitivity they need at any given moment would like blow up the processor in that camera now.
The camera, there will be a loss of detail in the dark areas. Another point to remember when you're sizing up a shot and planning your lighting needs, we see with two eyes, which gives us depth perception, three-dimensional vision. The camera sees with only one eye, the lens, without
Like
depth
Cyclops,
perception.
Polyphemus.
Two-dimensional vision. The only way we can add the feeling of depth to what we shoot is through lighting, with the use
Huge
of
boobs
shadows,
to show
shading,
3D.
texture, and highlights.
Big hair.
But now
too.
back to contrast ratio for a minute.
foreheads.
Mike, why don't you show us what can happen and how to correct it when you exceed the 30-to-1 contrast
Over there on the other
Yeah.
set, like where we set up the thing for you, way over there.
ratio?
Okay.
I'll see you later. Oh, it's even outside. Go outside.
Next time
we parked a Plymouth K car on the lawn. We want you to shoot some glamour shots of it with a girl wearing a very confusing outfit.
taping your best girl buffing her buggy, try this learning exercise. With video, the real problem is with
Your best girl is her, and her buggy. Again, a K car. Come on.
two grade of extremes between the lightest and darkest area in your scenes. Because of the nature of your camera's pickup tube, hot highlights can produce various kinds of electronic distortion in your picture. Blooming.
I want to know what is he seeing? He's so close. I don't care how, within reason, how wide can that angle be on that lens? Let's say, because it's not super long, but again, it's not going to be a pinhole camera. So I don't know, 28, maybe 35 millimeters, somewhere in there. That's still way too close for this. Well, I'm maybe not for 28, but like it probably stops at 35. Let's say 35 to 250, something like that. But like, well, he's like up her ass, man. Like he should be getting shots up her nose at that length. Crazy.
Is one effect. Another problem from hot spots called lag happens when you move your camera. What's happening is the highlight is retained on the pickup tube.
Audition tape.
Then also watch out for lens flare.
Unless you're shooting Star Trek, right, guys? Guys, lens flare for the Star Trek for the win.
A can of dulling spray or silver duct tape handy. They're great glare cutters. Now look at the
just
same.
spray down your model with like a matte finish. Like get the Krylon, the Rust-Oleum, be like, hey, baby, hold that pose and just spray right in the
Hold
face
your breath.
with a lacquer finish.
Shot with dulling spray and duct tape, pulling down the highlights to a level that the camera can
And
handle.
lifting their butts with the tape.
Second, to prevent light sneaking into the camera lens, you can rig a card, or as we call it, a
He's
flash.
sacrificing his balding head sunburn screen for this shot. She better really appreciate that.
To cut your sun flaring
He's going to
problems.
be flaking later.
Now look again at the shot that had the lens flare. Corrected with little time and expense.
Your best girl.
Right, but if you're going to shoot, again, still photography, sometimes you want that. Like sometimes I'll let the sun peek in a little bit, especially like if my f-stop's super high. Like if I think about it and put it up to like 18 or above, be a nice little couple of diamond patterns in there. So you be creative with it.
Girl, huh?
I want to go to your giant forehead.
Anyway, don't forget that you may want to leave the lens flare in your shot.
No.
It conveys the feeling of hot. Again, let your subject
Hot,
matter
sexy
dictate what you do.
Flares. Take control of the lighting.
There's no real secret to the control of light. It'll do exactly what you want it to do.
Will it?
Now, for the sake of clarity, we're using one of our studio fixtures, but the same holds true of all lights. All you have to do is roll up your sleeves and take control. First, you can control it on and off. No mystery there, right? But we can do much more.
Guys, I did that. Like the light that's lighting me right now, I turned it on earlier. Later, I'll turn it off. I've mastered it at this point. You guys have seen it happen, like a little behind the scenes peek. I turn it on before the show starts.
Yep.
After it's over, I turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
Called that.
Let's watch. We can aim it and move it.
That.
Oh, yeah.
We can spot or focus it.
I can't
concentrate.
do that with this. This is just a soft box. It's like a little LED. It's like equivalent to like a 75 watt or whatever, but it's just a square soft box. Why would I want a spotlight on my face? Like this is fine. Like so whatever. I don't have a key light. I use this as backlight to kind of like separate me. Yeah. Nothing more than a soft box. Don't go crazy. You're just shooting video at home, guys.
We can break it up or diffuse it, turning a single shot.
Yeah. Hey guys, this is shoot with a VHS camcorder. Now go out and get $1,000 lighting rig. Get a bunch of gels, like especially the brightly colored ones. Because boy, oh boy, you're gonna be one of shooting dramatic shots around the house. Like, make your kitchen look like Gotham City with like a bunch of fuchsia and green, just like popping here and there. And they come down for breakfast and make them look all like villains.
Shaft into a broad veil of light. We can sculpt it or model it into any pattern we desire.
Make sure you get some heavy-duty leather gloves because those things
or by aiming it at a...
I mean, even the ones I am, but like now that again technology has come so far, you can get LED replacements for most of the old hot ones. I mean, even the transitionary. So like they went from the incandescent or whatever to they switched up to like fluorescent. They got big, huge tubes because they had to like really push the wattage or whatever. And now LEDs, like you can run them all day. Still, they get a little hot. Obviously, they're going to be electronics in there doing whatever their jobs in America. It's a little hot, but like nothing compared to like having basically just like a white hot piece of filament, like just burning away behind, nylon that maybe is rated for fire, but I bet not. Anyway, back at it.
A reflective surface, we can bend it or bounce it in any direction we care to.
Hell yeah. The light will do whatever you want as long as you have a lot of equipment to do so.
Yeah.
Like you can't just wish or pray or like throw a penny into a wishing well. Saying yes to the Salvation Army for a donation, it won't work. You got to like do it yourself.
As we've seen, most lighting for video involves working with qualities of both hard and soft light.
Am I right?
Most situations you'll be shooting are illuminated with varying ratios of both. Your main job in the second sea of light, the controller.
Okay, when we zoom out, is he going to be like locked on her eye level as he's like, boom?
Yes.
Are we going to see him on the side like a hard profile, or will he be looking at the camera?
I'm going to think hard profile because she's talking.
Control of light is to get a reasonable balance or contrast ratio between light areas and dark areas for your camera's eye.
Let's tackle the control.
He looks like a caricature. Like for whatever reason, social media is pushing this like caricature artist. Like looks like he's got like that big block. He looks like Mr. Krabs' daughter Pearl.
Oh
like
yeah.
He just rest his forehead on her head.
Of light in the great outdoors.
Shooting outside events and stories is a natural for home video. Here you're free to shoot what video loves. Plenty of action and movement. But movement is the first problem to overcome. In other words, the sun's movement. Naturally, the sun is your major source of light outside. You're at its mercy, or so it would seem. Hey, Rick, over here.
Son, don't kill me. I just want to shoot.
Here. First of all, any photographer will tell you that generally the best time of day to shoot is in the morning and afternoon. Most subjects look best when sunlight is falling at an angle to them rather than straight down.
Basically.
Now, that's not to say you won't ever have problems then. It's just that it looks better. When the sun is high overhead, around noon, it tends to create deep shadows on the face.
Right, we talked about this earlier. You don't want anybody to be lit from above because it'll give you like that weird zombified look. Anytime you want to hit the streets or whatever, buildings are okay. Like you can, if you're just going to do street photography for the architecture, whatever, like try it all the time. But like for people, never at like noon. Like when the sun's up immediately above them, they look like terrible. And you'll always come home going like, why does everybody look like shit?
Under the eyes, nose, and chin. Thanks, Rick.
And the stash.
You can see how the sunlight is brighter on the top with a hot spot and deeply shaded on the bottom. One way to correct this would be to use a reflector to fill in the bottom.
Shameful. Oh, no.
We'll get into the use of reflectors in just a minute as we get into control. In outdoor shooting, you'll find most shots made with subjects facing into the sun are successful. The lighting is even, the appearance desirable.
Right.
But sometimes you can't always get the sun to cooperate. Here's a strong backlight situation. This too can happen, strong side light. And both of these conditions can be remedied. Here's how.
It's Philip Markoff. He's a murderer. Allegedly. No, he is.
You may want to practice this exercise around the home. All you need is a subject, your camera and tripod setup, and a simple
$14,000 in lights.
Yep.
What are they? Lav mics.
Homemade reflector. white card on one side and crinkled aluminum foil on the other.
Crinkle it up. Give her that
In
crinkle.
setting up, first you set your white balance. This is an automatic feature that's your main control over color temperature.
Whoa.
Remember, if your camera has a built-in color temperature filter wheel, select the proper setting, then set your white balance. Next, pick a subject with nice front lighting and adjust your iris setting. The camera iris is your control over how much light you let into the camera.
This was shot just after she was like on her way down here. She got a little too excited and fell, like face first in the stand, and she got it all off mostly, but now she's like licking her lips and like getting out little sand granules out of her face and her eyes.
Now find a subject in strong backlight. Here you have two options of control after you adjust the iris. First, your camera may have a backlight control. In this case, this control boosts up your dark areas.
Some cameras do have like exposure compensation, but like you're not going to think of it in the moment. Like you have to really be aware of that stuff. Like there are so many things, even like most of it's automated and like whatever now. Like there are still so many settings. Like if you're shooting manually instead of like on automatic or shutter or aperture priority mode, like it's insane. I like to do it as raw as possible, you know, no rubber. So I keep everything manual and do it all myself, but it's like impossible to keep an eye on like my light meter and like what the ISO is, because sometimes I'll move into like a dark area and forget to bring it back. But now the electric viewfinder pretty much solves that problem, but whatever.
But remember, it also tends to introduce noise or grain into your image because the camera is trying to produce an image where there isn't enough light for a good picture. For both a strong back and side lighting situation, it's easy to redirect the sun to fill in the shadows where it's needed. With the help of an assistant and my homemade reflector, I can bounce light to wherever I need it. See how the light off the card side is more diffuse?
Again, thank God you don't have to do this like homemade bullshit. Like you're not home brewing anything. Like you can get 3 shades that fold up to the size of like a medium Frisbee for like $14.
Fused, and here, the foil side makes for a stronger beam. Remember, the sun off a reflector can be very strong. Be careful not to blind your subject.
Don't hurt them.
There'll be many times when you'll need a reflector to help reduce your contrast ratio. Practice with it. You'll find all sorts of places you can use it. Like we said at the top of this segment, you can do wonders with light when you take control. So now we're going to build with it. You remember from the first tape in this learning library, Shooting Home Video, the Basics, we detailed...
Yeah, again, there we are, home video, shooting home video. Oh, what the...
the classic 3-point system in the studio. For those of you who didn't see the first show, and as a refresher for the rest of you, we're going to repeat it now.
Oh, good.
Key light, the sun, the spotlight.
I'm just blown away. This is how to shoot home video. It's like it's not even like a prosumer level camera, right? There's nothing special about these, I feel. Whatever. I feel like you guys basically get the idea. Like we're going to go over all of this again. The basics you have been told. All the finer points I feel like we're just going to be going back over for whatever reason. The fundamentals are that. But the thing is, don't get discouraged if something like this happens to you, because it happened to me. Like my first step into like a professional camera was like a D50-300, like a crop sensor, whatever. Still pretty good. Got some great shots out of it. Outgrew it almost immediately. But like I was so used to having point and shoot 35 millimeters to do anything with, and like digital cameras that automatically mess with the ISO and aperture and yada yada yada, that like all of my pictures were coming out completely black. Like there was, because I was like walking around in my house just like looking around with a DSLR that didn't give me like a feedback of like a digital screen would, and it was just too dark, and all like the shutter speed was just too high, and it couldn't capture any light at all. So it was always just giving me absolutely black images.
It's weird.
So I had to get a tripod so I could set the exposure to like 2 seconds and get a picture of my refrigerator. So you have to like keep that in mind. If you don't like switch it over to automatic, and it like takes, because my ISO to like get a shot in there would have been like at 1250 to get a shot at a speed where I could do it at a handheld like 60th of a second or whatever. So whatever. And moral of the story is, don't get discouraged, because crazy shit like that will happen to you too. I guarantee it. That's all I got for you. I hope that does help you with like composition and stuff. Think about your shots, plan your shot, then shoot the plan, but also keep your eye on unusual things. Anything specifically planned for next week? Nothing specifically. If I get something delivered by Mr. Yabo, who is not here, we'll have an interesting little collection of clips, but nothing specific as of yet. But, I'll always have something. But that being said, thanks for showing up. Appreciate you. Thanks, Ryan, for the super chat. We will see you on the next episode of FFOP Radio. Until then, adieu.
Bye.
For the try to
Fistful of Podcasts Radio.